by MMI. Get there faster, smarter. Specialized turbo e-bikes. It's you, only faster. And by RockyMountainATVMC.com. Get ready.
And welcome back to GNCC Live. I'm Mikey Waynes. You've already heard from my colleague Rodney Tomlin. And look at that. The Monster Mile this weekend. This is a specialized rapid replay. And how about the start for Josh Merritt? Are you kidding me? Snags the whole shot. And as he rolls through right here, you might be thinking, if you're from out of state, what in the heck am I looking at through that Monster Mile? They're rolling coal, baby. And no, they're not running diesel motors. But that is pile of coal. How about it? You know you're in West Virginia when. Pretty cool stuff. So, yeah, again, Josh Merritt out in front in this one. Again, he did snag that whole shot. As you can't even see who the heck is coming through. Gnarly section. We always say the Monster Mile may not be a full mile, but I can promise you it'll feel like a mile. And here at the AMSOIL Buckwheat 100, no exception. We're taking a look at mile marker number 2 right now, the FMF PowerPoint. What you guys can expect out of today's track, we're going to take a look at the Yamaha Racing track map to give you guys an idea of what to expect from a racetrack we've never raced at on the national side of things. In a moment, I guess. There's a look at that Monster Mile. Again, what a gnarly section that is. Okay, there you go. Yamaha Racing track map on screen for you here. This is the AMSOIL Buckwheat 100. And from talking to the riders yesterday that were able to bike the track, some riders that have raced in it this morning, the 4x4 Pro Class, the WXC, even the youth riders said a lot of very, very tight racetracks. So a good start, very important. Doesn't give a whole lot of opportunities as far as open sections go to be able to make a pass. So very technical track here to wrap up the season here in November. November, are you kidding me? We're racing GNCC in November. Not mad about it. I got to say, we talked about it throughout the day. We thought there was a point this season where, man, we might have three rounds of racing, and that might be it. And Safe to Race program came out, and thanks to some diligent work, I can't believe I'm saying it, we're in round 13 of 13 planned rounds. It's been a crazy season to say the least, but we're doing it. No Walker Fowler today, if you're just tuning in and wondering where he's at. Of course, he did not race at the Ironman GNCC. Had the privilege of having him in the booth for that one. Not the case this weekend. Don't believe Walker Fowler is even on the property this weekend, but that's okay. He's wrapped up the championship. But what does that do? Well, it opens up the window of opportunity for a slew of other XC1 guys. Of course, Bryce and Neal coming off that win at the Ironman GNCC a couple weekends ago. Coltrane, as we look at Cole right there. How about you like how I did that there? Cole Richardson finished with a second place position, and Jared McClure finished out in the number 3 spot. And again, we were talking about the number 11 Yamaha of Josh Merritt and that fantastic start for him, snagging the whole shot and then leading at least through this point the Monster Mile right there. Best start of the season for him, no doubt about that. As a matter of fact, looking at standings, the top 20, his best finish of the season came at round number 10, which was a 5th place finish. So can today be the day that he puts it on the box? We'll have to wait and see. A lot of racing between now and the finish, or between now and the checkered flag. So we'll wait and see. It's going to be a good one. Another guy looking for a little redemption today, of course, Adam McGill. We are in the state of West Virginia, I might add. But Adam McGill coming off the DNF a couple weekends ago. You know that's not how he's going to want to end his season. And then, of course, silly season. A lot of our XC2 guys making their way up into the XC1 Pro Row. Of course, Austin Abney, who wrapped up that national championship a couple weeks ago, joins the XC1 Pros in row number 1, as well as Drew Landers on row number 1 as well. So it'll be interesting to see how those guys fare today here on a racetrack, like we said. As far as the national series goes at GNCC, we've never raced here. It's a new facility for us. Of course, there are some local races that go on here. It is the CJ Raceway, if you will, Newburgh, West Virginia, and beautiful landscape out here. For me, I'm from Indiana. I call them mountains. Maybe if you live out here, you're like, no, Mikey, those are just rolling hills. But bottom line is, it's created some pretty good terrain for these guys. So, again, we're normally talking about the number 1 Yamaha out front. Today we're talking about the number 1, the 11. Josh Merritt out there doing work on the Yamaha, and he's got to feel good right now where he's at. So taking a look at some of that landscape I was just talking about there on the Yamaha Racing Skycam, you can see just how picturesque things are out here. Beautiful, beautiful facility. So, and that's, yeah, you notice those shadows on screen as well. That's something we're going to be battling, no doubt about that. And this one, I think it gets dark here about 5:15. It starts, the sun starts sneaking away on us. So we're definitely battling the track. See, look at that. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. I feel like those are mountains. I can call those mountains, doggone it. All right. Okay. See, I'm from Indiana. Like I said, Rodney joined us in the booth. I said, Rodney, I can call those mountains, right? Because where I come from, we call rolling hills mountains. We're flatlanders, man.
Uh-oh. Wrong headset.
Oh, you should be good. No, you're good. It's just not cranked up.
How's that? 1, 2, 1, 2. All right. Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
I can hear you in mine.
Okay. Well, I can't hear. That's all right. I can hear you, but I can't. But that's all right. What do we got going on here? We got somebody off the side of the track already. I don't think this is one of our lead riders. So there goes a bicycle passing them there out of in the field section. You know you're having a bad day when a bicycle passes and you're riding an ATV.
No doubt about that. So, Rodney, what do you make of Josh Merritt? He's pushed his way out front. He had the whole shot.
Dude, I've been waiting on this. I've been waiting on this and waiting on this and waiting on this. There's a switch in this kid that I've been waiting for it to flip, and I thought we'd seen it in process a couple of different times over the last couple of seasons. Earlier in the season, I thought we might see it, and then, of course, the COVID hit, and things just kind of went awry and astray for him, and he just didn't seem to pick up where he left off whenever we got back to racing. But nonetheless, you know, I think that, you know, we've seen good solid rides out of him recently. We haven't seen him up front battling, but it's just a matter of time. And he's one of these riders that, you know, being the last race of the season, he's probably full of all kinds of adrenaline right now. Walker Fowler's not here, and any time that Walker's not there, I have to think that any rider on the racetrack that lines up on that XC1 Pro Row all of a sudden thinks that they have a much better chance of taking the win. So with that kind of confidence and with the kind of attitude he has the last race of the season, things have been going progressively better and better for him. Hey, not as big a surprise as what we thought. Now the big question is, will he be able to hang on to it for how long if he can?
Yeah, that's right. I was talking about it earlier, Rodney. The best finish he had on the season was round 10 with a finish. Followed that up with a DNF in round number 11, which, if I recall, that was the race that everybody, I mean, they were dropping like flies with the dust. But coming off of Ironman, he finished back in the number 7 spot. So, yeah, for him, he's had some steady progress. But like you say, it's just a matter of putting together that complete race and being the last race. This almost feels like a bonus round. I know it's round 13 of a 13-round season,
right? But
we're racing after Ironman. We're in West Virginia. There's just something about this. Like, are we just out here for fun? No. There's still some racing to be had.
But honestly, it feels as much like a celebration race as anything. The big surprise for me today: no Austin Abney in the XC1 Pro Class.
I wondered that.
We did see Drew Landers. So from what I understand, I asked. Well, obviously Austin's not racing at all today. I don't think he was in the XC2 class either.
You know, he's here. I wonder if maybe he's feeling under the weather. I'm not sure what happened there.
Well, you know, you got to think, man. There's probably a lot of different variables to put on something like this. And though maybe a celebration race for many, maybe he psyched himself out coming into this one. Maybe just something happened that, you know, that prevented him from doing it, mechanical, anything. A number of things could have happened, but whatever the case may be. We got some battles going on here. Is this our front runners?
That should be up front, and look at the battle for first. So Josh Merritt got some his work cut out for him up front. Now look at the battle.
Oh, we got a pass.
We got a bird's eye view, and I can't tell that far away who the heck is who.
I would, if it had a yellow helmet on, I would say that was Bryson Neal, but I can't quite tell from this vantage point. But man, we've got some great battle. Look at that, the top 5 still in the same camera shot. The front 3 really starting to stretch things out there, but they are bumper to grab bar in this one, man.
This is good. This is good. It's silly season. Everybody's jockeying. Everybody wants a win. Maybe not even a win, but
that might be Neil that just made the pass.
You might be right.
Now that we get a little closer down, it's starting to look a little bit more like that could be a yellow helmet, one of those day glow helmets that we are so accustomed to see Bryson Neal wearing out there.
Man, they got that accordion effect going on right now. Look like there's a pass per second.
I'm going to have to say that's probably Cole Richardson maybe making the move into the number 2 spot if I'm going out on a limb here and looking at the way things have broke down up recently. And, wow, still just a great battle going on up front here. And, well, that bicyclist better get out of the way.
Okay, here come the big boys.
And, boy, I'm sure that he heard him coming really fast. Look at this, though, man. I mean, these guys. And here's the beauty of it. Daniel Rogerson, our drone operator today, welcoming him back. He has got well, the bird's eye view, literally, and with this Yamaha Racing Skycam, I know I was talking with him during the 11 o'clock race. He was practicing. At one point, he had followed the riders for an entire 4 miles through the woods without any leaves on the trees. It's so much easier to do.
A little easier.
Yeah, and we'll get. And you know, we saw it early in the season at the first Georgia round before the COVID break, and then of course. You know, since in the last couple of weeks at Ironman, we saw it start to come around a little bit more. But, man, this week, 2 weeks later here in West Virginia with many of the leaves already gone, it's a really good opportunity for us to be able to peek right down through those trees and see exactly what is going on. Nearing the completion of this first lap, it's a 3-way shootout here at the Amsoil Buckwheat 100 GNCC. Looks like the front 2 are starting to stretch things out themselves there, and that is Bryson Neal. I'm going to go out on the limb and say that is Neal. And a gamble and a risk, I'm thinking that might be Cole Richardson back in that number 2 spot right now.
I think you're right, Rodney. I'll double down on it. I'm good with it.
However, would we not be surprised if it was our rider stepping up from the XC2 Pro-Am class that unfortunately came up short in the championship this year, Drew Landers? I'm kind of curious to see how things are going to go for that rider.
I believe that is Bryson.
That is Bryson Neal in that number 1 position, just as we had assumed.
I'm telling you, this sun is not going to be our friend.
It's hard to see the TV.
Mile marker 10. We know that's Bryson Neal up front. And there you go, Coltrane.
So Cole Richardson in that number, and there is the number. That's the number 5. That's number 5 of Jared McClure back there in the number 3 position. So we have lost the number 11 of Josh Merritt, which I thought might be a possibility.
And that's exactly your 1, 2, 3 right now is exactly how they finished at Ironman a couple weeks ago.
And not much of a surprise to see them in this order. I mean, oftentimes we see them, even when Walker's out, these are the 3 main competitors, 3 of the main competitors that he battles with. I know we're looking also for the 521, the number 3 also of Chris Borch, 521, of course, West Virginia's own Gator, Adam McGill. So, you know, there's a lot of folks that can be jockeying for position, but I'm just thoroughly impressed not only with this camera shot, but how quickly we're witnessing the front 2 stretch out from the rest of the field, and to know what kind of pace that Jared McClure was running at when he was up front. And we saw it through the woods, we saw it in the open field sections, and then how much faster of a pace these 2 have been able to find out there. I mean, they are on a completely different level.
It's top 3, running away with it. Also, this morning we saw very, very long lap times. I believe in the 4x4 and WXC in novice race, we were seeing lap times of like 30, 31 minutes. So you got to think we're going to see some, not quite as long for these guys, but we're going to see some long lap times today as well. Matter of fact, I think it was only a 4-lap race this morning.
Yeah, and right now we're looking at this race, and you know, one of the things that we talked about and leading into the weekend, and this morning people were talking about the track being tight. It looks like it's widened out a little bit since this morning's race, but still a little tight for an ATV in some of those areas. So their passing opportunities may be a little more limited at the moment. But getting a word from our producer, he says really tight. and if it's really tight, and he rides a 2-wheeler, I know he took a spin on the trail yesterday, Adam Gordon. And anyway, if he's saying it's tight on a motorcycle, can imagine what it's like for these ATVs out there. So I mean, there's some areas that they can just barely get get their wheels through, and that's tight stuff going on. And that makes for interesting racing, because those guys have got to slow down, check up, and kind of get their bearings and stuff out there. there. So that should make for a pretty good race. It also increases the likelihood and the possibility of mistakes, broken tie rods, different things like that. So we could see a lot of changes in this one today.
It's going to be gnarly. Bryson Neal, man, they're not, Cole Richardson not letting Bryson Neal out of his sight, though. Bryson's been one of those guys that's been able to put some time on the rest of the pack today. Yeah, Cole not letting go.
Well, we're about 27 minutes or so into this race. We'll get this first lap wrapped up, and it is going to be officially a 27:08 lap time for Bryson Neal. Cole Richardson out of Edinburgh, Pennsylvania, on that Action Teely Energy back machine, is running 1.5 seconds back. He turned a 27:10.2. So there you go. That's first and second. Back in the number 3 position, as we told you, things are starting to open up. Adam McGill's gotten around McClure now. He's only 4 seconds behind Richardson, so he's wow. That's pretty impressive. 12 seconds back to Jared McClure, the sneaky snake now. So something must have went awry for him in some way, shape, or form. Don't know what that could have been. Chris Bort's running in the number 5 spot, and back there in the number 6 spot is this season's sophomore Hunter Hart, coming off of a 4th place finish. Ran 3rd place at the Ironman GNCC that he won last year, but only to come up a little bit short when the sneaky snake did just exactly that. He got him there on that last lap. Man, look at this battle. I mean, you could say there's a little bit of distance between these guys, but we know over a near 11.5-mile race course that right there is literally side by side, nose to tail, however you want to call it. But this is tight racing.
Yeah, different line choices there. You see in the open section, Cole trying to avoid some of that dust and stay out of that. He knows what that did to air filters a few weeks ago. I don't think we're going to have quite those conditions today.
Right. It's not that dusty, but it is starting to dry out there. And as the day wears on, with the sun beating down, we do have a slight breeze. It could dry it out. We could see plumes of dust starting to form as the day progresses. I think more so tomorrow for the two-wheel side of things, it might be more of a factor then.
Looking at those guys, Rodney, well, you was giving us a rundown. I mean, they were pulling in wheel to wheel around some of those sections. So definitely Cole's looking for that opportunity, trying to figure out maybe they got a line out there. Something's going to change up. I think this is going to be a close one for all 2 hours.
Neal, Richardson, McGill, McClure, and Chris Borch, your top 5. It's Hunter Hart checking in 6th. Devin Feehan, the number 406 from Windsor, New York, in 7th. John Glotta Jr., the rookie this season, in 8th. Josh Merritt, the number 11, dropping back to 9th. He had the early lead in this one. Wyatt Wilkin, who is your XC2 Pro-Am class leader, rounds out your top 10 now. That puts Drew Lander. Oh, Brandon Owens checks in now, 1.5 seconds behind Wilkin. He is the 11th place overall, and making his his GNCC Pro ATV racing debut. Drew Landers on the number 14. He is running 10th in class. He is currently 12th overall. And he is currently, I believe, fallen victim to the pack, if you will, and trying to pace some of those guys out there instead of riding like Drew Landers normally does. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of lessons he learns out here in his inaugural running of the XC1 Pro class on board that number 14 machine. By the way, Brent Sturdivant in 13th overall. Wesley Wolf is 14th overall. Greg Covert checking in 15th overall. Noah Mickelson, 3rd place in the XC2 Pro-Am class on that Phoenix Honda, is running in 16th overall. Johnny Gallagher is 17th overall. Tanner Walker, 4th in the XC2 Pro-Am class, is 18th overall. Bryce Barnett out of Wileysville, New York, he's 19th overall, and that would put him 5th, I believe, in the XC2 Pro-Am class, and still waiting on the 20th place finisher here.
So, Rodney, give you a quick update. Austin Abney, feeling under the weather, had a COVID test earlier this week, came back negative.
Good for him.
Last night, felt like he had a fever, felt sick, nauseous, so that explains where he's at today. He's erring on the side of caution, which is the right call. And
I will say this, a few weeks ago, you might recall on Sunday, about a month ago, I left a race early under the same circumstances. Yeah. I was starting to feel it, and I've been telling everybody, if you start to feel sick, go home.
Yeah, get out of here.
And so I started to feel sick. My temperature started to go up a little bit. Come to find out, it was not COVID, but I had like a cold, really bad cold, and there is a little flu going around right now as well. But I know exactly. So there's a lot of false, and that's the bad thing about it now. You start getting ill, start feeling bad, and
it scares you to death.
It scares you. So the first thing you do, to protect everybody else. Yeah. Me personally, it's not for me. It's for everybody around me. I've gone and gotten a few COVID tests just to be on the safe side.
I mean, it's one of those things, I think, especially if you're out there racing, you're already putting your body through so much. I mean, why risk it?
And plus, he's met every challenge, and he's accomplished everything that he wants to accomplish this year. So congratulations to Austin Abney. We wish you well, my friend, and hope that things get better for you, my friend.
I guarantee you he's watching, though, and he's saying, man, I want to be there right now. Now you got to wait, buddy. Big buck, 2021.
Well, I have to, I was talking about this earlier. We're talking about making the step up. It's good for them to be able to gauge themselves. And oftentimes what we see is these guys come from that XC2 class, like, for instance, Wesley Wolf, Cody Collier, a few of those guys that whenever they came out, they set the world on fire whenever they raced their first XC1 class. The following season, though, was a whole different story. So maybe some false hopes, some false senses of security for those riders, because, I mean, you got to think they're coming in on a huge wave anyway, moving up in that class or whatever the case may be. So maybe starting fresh in the early part of the season might be the best key for Austin Abney in 2021.
Well, there went Bryson Neal and Cole Richardson, and one thing's for sure, those guys are feeling good right now, flying through that FMF PowerPoint, and still about that same time difference. Got that kind of accordion effect going on, if you will, where he pulls them in, kind of spaces out, pulls them in, spaces out.
Man, as fast as these two are, it is hard to believe that one is even that little bit much more faster. I mean, starting to watch the number 2 of Bryson Neal pull this out. By the way, there's only a 3-point difference separating Bryson Neal and Cole Richardson in this battle for the overall second-place position, the number 2 plate for the 2021 season. The way I've got it figured, I believe if Cole wins the race, and if Bryson was to finish second, then Cole would get the overall number 2 plate, and vice versa. If Bryson wins, he should be able to tag. He's got a 3-point cushion right now heading into this one as we go through the Gator through the BP Fuels Pro Road. No MMI pit stop this time around, so I believe this is lap 2. Yes, but this is only about mile 2.5 or so if you look at the track map. So they're still early in lap 2, so it'll be lap 3 before we see them pitting, and that'll be more closer to the halfway point as far as their fuel consumption will be concerned. Right now, 34 minutes into this, they'll be running somewhere in the neighborhood of a little over an hour, maybe an hour and 5 minutes by the time they get around to the pro pits next time. And generally, these ATV guys are pretty good on fuel for that amount of time.
Rodney, talking about Cole Richardson, in a few conversations with him, he still sounds like next year not a guarantee for him. He doesn't know if he's coming back. It kind of depends on how this year ends up. And I got to say, I'll be heartbroken if we don't see Cole Richardson next season. It's
unfortunate that the ATV industry seems to succumb to that. Some riders are able to find the support, whether it be through family financial support, or whether it be through friendly business, or somebody just happens to be a fan and steps up and pays. It's hard for these guys to really make a living, believe it or not. I mean, even guys like Chris Borge, a 6-time GNCC champion, 75 wins. When he goes shopping for sponsors and stuff, not saying that he has as tough a time as some do, but it's not easy for Chris Borge either. And Walker Fowler, I mean, he's in a unique position right now, and probably one of the only riders on ATV Pro Row in that position as far as that is concerned, with the factory backing. And I wouldn't say support, but it's not a full-on factory effort. It's a Walker Fowler race team with Yamaha support is what it basically boils down to. So even in that realm, it's kind of scaled back for even Walker. So, it's a story you hear all too often for these ATV racers, and you're absolutely right. It just totally baffles me and blows my mind that's been the way for Cole Richardson the past few seasons, unfortunately. And look at this. There's our XC2 leader, the 621 machine checking in there. Wyatt Wilkin, Brandon Owens right there with them. They were nearly side by side going through that pro row there just a few moments ago. So basically, in a nutshell, if I'm trying to wrap this up for you, I'm really surprised that these ATV guys don't get the support, but unfortunately, it seems to be the trend. Hopefully somebody out there says, this guy deserves a little support, we're going to do it. And
that's kind of why I threw it out there. I thought, well, we'll talk about it. Maybe somebody will hear this and go, you know what?
Well, you know what?
I'm going to throw something
There's
at that
somebody
guy
that we're talking to right now that says, you know, I could do that.
Yeah.
I could help him.
Be that.
I could be that guy. I'm in a position in my life and in my business and in my...
How gnarly is this Monster Mile?
Mercy. This right here, our tribute to Southern West Virginia.
Yes.
The coal fields of West Virginia, the coal pile, the Monster Mile here. And I said something about that. Jeremy Holbert says, we're not in Southern West Virginia. And I said, I know that. We're paying tribute to Southern West Virginia with the coal fields. That's for the Mingo County and the Logan County boys right there. See, I was born down in Mingo County.
Oh, so nice. There you go.
This coal pile gets me kind of excited, believe it or not.
The Hoosier in me sees that, and my first thought was, what is that black mulch? And they're like, dude, you're in West Virginia. Oh, yeah, okay. All right, I'm with you now. Okay. So they're rolling coal through there. So coal is rolling coal through. Look at that.
Rolling through coal. That's a very good way to put that. Wow, there is Chris Borch there, Phoenix Racing Honda ride. I believe he's got himself a little different program coming up. There is the number 7 machine. I believe that was Hunter Hart out there with us. We've got some issues with our scoring computer today again. It's been a while since that happened, so we won't start throwing it around just yet. But man, look at that. I mean, you know, that right there, it doesn't look like a whole lot, but I think that's going to have a lot of characteristics as mulch and as sand. I think we're going to see it really whoop out and get, because it's so loose in there, you know, it doesn't really pack in, so it's going to be moving around constantly changing for these guys.
Kind of reminds you of the mulch pile at John Penton.
Yeah, exactly. I thought that was neat that we didn't run the mulch pile at the Burr Oaks. That's a John Penton only.
Yeah, exactly. I do like that. Yeah.
Got hats off and kudos to the track group for there's the number 11 machine making his way through. That's Josh Merritt. He got the whole shot, if you recall, and has dropped back to 9th place now in that pro class. You know, I'm sure he's probably thinking, wow, we got the whole shot. That's just one step closer to being where I want to be for next season. And that's a lot of incentive, I think, for him to work with in the upcoming off months as well.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Now he's got his work cut out for him to push that much up front. You fall back middle of the pack, and now you're like, oh, my God, I've used so much of my energy, and now I got to start all over again.
Well, here's Bryson Neal leading Cole Richardson, Adam McGill back at number 3 spot. Jared McClure in 4th. And, well, one of the greatest GNCC racers of all time, Chris Borch, rounding out the top 5 from here in the shadows of Morgantown, West Virginia, in our home office in Preston County, West Virginia. This is the Amsoil Buckwheat 100 GNCC. We'll be back with more right after this.
When you crave the canyon passes, rocky trails, rutted tracks, the podiums and personal records, it becomes part of you. The choice now is, do you become a wanderer or the wanderer? You just need to ride where you belong.
Born of family values and a homegrown work ethic, Kinetic Gaskets seals your machine so you can focus on the finish line. Kinetic Gaskets are the competitive standard for racers who demand the very best. Kinetic Gaskets are constructed from superior materials designed to perform in the most demanding environment, whether it's championships on the line or a day in the dirt with friends. Professionals and enthusiasts depend on Kinetic. Kinetic Gaskets, sealing championships since 1989.
Doug Whitmer, Coastal Racing team. I'm mechanic for my two boys, Cole Whitmer, number 44, and Lane Whitmer was a youth rider. Now this weekend's a first weekend on a big bike, number 587. I started mechanicking for Barry Hawk in 1996, and I went from 96 to 2010 with Barry when he retired. But I actually started the GNCC series racing in 1986. Big Bear was my first race. So I raced four-wheelers from 86 to probably 93, and then I switched to bikes, had some knee injuries and things like that, and then I started working for Barry. So I wouldn't be afraid to say I'm one of the oldest guys around here, or at least has been in the GNCC series for one of the longest times. I can tell you that. Maybe Mike Holbert might have me beat. This is the last race for us on Huskies. It's publicized. Everybody knows we're going to Gaskets next year, and a lot of the same riders. We got a few maybe new riders, and I think everybody's fired up about it. So we'd like to end this weekend on a good note.
And welcome back to GNCC Live. Doug Whitmer, man, that right there, that guy is an icon as far as behind the scenes in GNCC racing. He's right. He's been around a long, long time, and definitely a big part of the Barry Hawk success in his program, no doubt about that. Back here at the Buckwheat 100, where Bryson Hill continues to lead Cole Richardson, Adam McGill, Jared McClure, and Chris Borich, your top five. And, of course, with that, Mikey, already, man, what a great day we've seen. Look at this. We talked about the dust not being much. The cold dust might be a little bit more of an issue than the regular dust out there.
Lap number one, when they came through, obviously you had some time distance between the front runners, but once they started rolling through there, just about single file, yeah, it kicked up quite a bit, and that's as if that section is not tough enough.
Well, Mikey Waynes, this is the Monster Mile, if you will, and we've got championships wrapped up in the XC1 and the XC2 classes. So right now we're battling for the overall number 2 plate between Bryson Hill and Cole Richardson. So what we're seeing is not only a battle for a race win, but also for bragging rights in that number 2 plate for the 2021 season.
And I think it's going to come down. We're finally going to get that wheel to wheel through the finish line today, Rodney. It's when it's going to happen.
4.4 seconds back. I'm not how far back he is now, but Adam McGill. How about it for Adam McGill? When we come to the great state of West Virginia, not saying that Adam McGill doesn't necessarily have anything for any place else we go, but man, there's just a whole different rider that comes to the racetrack here in West Virginia.
I was talking about that earlier this morning. Of course, he's coming off the DNF at Ironman, which happened, man, I think probably 100 feet into the woods, if that, from the start. And I talked about, I don't think anybody, GNCC Racing Nation likes to party, but I don't think anybody likes to party like the McGill fans in West Virginia.
Right.
So the stage is set, Adam. It's all you, buddy.
There you go. And with the crowd around here, they could inspire him. We've seen it happen in Beckley down there when we came back from the summer break. So, I mean, who's to say that we can't see excitement and history repeat itself here in West Virginia once again? Man, how many races does this make in West Virginia?
I was thinking about that earlier.
At least
talking
4
to my wife, and it's quite a few. I feel like we're almost a local series this year, but it's one of those things.
It doesn't have the feel of a local series.
No, you race when you can, where you can. I think that's what it was about.
Yeah, that's the beauty of it. I know we're generally used to traveling to all these different states and everything, but the amazing thing is the GNCC Racing Nation has come out in full force here in 2020, despite the circumstances. And you have to wonder, if the circumstances were normal, what could have it been like? If all these people and the people that were planning on coming before COVID decided not to because of it, or what could we have been faced with for 2020? I mean, even more craziness and excitement.
And I think that is we're going to see more of that moving into next year if things can continue to get better. I think we're going to see a lot of people that maybe didn't come out to all the races this year and think, oh no, I'm not missing it in 2021. So hopefully.
Some good news about next year. Speaking of next year, Tim Cotter making the announcement earlier today. Looks like our 2021 season is going to be kind of a traditional schedule as far as GNCC is concerned. I know he talked about the first 3 rounds will be a big bug to kick it off like normal the last few years anyway. Then we'll go to Florida, same place, Hogwaller, and then we will go to Georgia at Aonia Pass. Now, round 4, I believe we'll be going maybe to North Carolina, maybe not to North Carolina.
Yeah.
We'll not be going to Steel Creek, but they are looking for a new venue, which may be another Georgia round, just in a different location.
It's going to be good. I'm excited. I'm ready.
No doubt about that. I hate to say it, but I'm already ready for the next year.
I am too. I keep saying this weekend feels like a bonus round.
It does.
And it's going to be a short off season. We're normally done by now and thinking about the banquet.
Speaking of the banquet, for those of you that are around, if you're on a motorcycle and you're finishing top 10 in your class, don't forget you can stop down till about 7 o'clock tonight by rider registration and record your virtual thanks for the virtual banquet that will be taking place a little later on. They're getting that all together now, so those of you at home will be able to watch the banquet. You'll be able to see all the different faces and maybe get a little bit of their personalities at the same time. 48 minutes now into this race. Neal, Richardson, McGill, no change as far as the lead up front there is concerned, or at least since the last time we've had a chance to check in with these guys, Mikey. My big question is, what's going on back there behind these guys? I know we were looking, the deficits, if you look at the deficits from about 3rd place on, you've got 12 seconds back to McClure, and Chris Bortz was only a second behind McClure. I'm sure that's changed now. Another 8 seconds back to Hunter Hart, another 8 seconds back to Devin Feehan, another 11 seconds back to John Glotta. Josh Merritt was 14 seconds back. Wyatt Wilkin, well, he was leading the XC2 Pro-Am class, but if you look at time adjustments right now, he was only 5 seconds off the pace of Josh Merritt.
Nuts.
Yeah. So basically, if he can make up that 5 seconds, we'll see him moving up through the overall top 10 at the end of lap number 2. With calculations, I'm estimating somewhere in the neighborhood of about 7 minutes, 6-7 minutes or so. We'll see those guys coming in. And then we will be seeing pit stops make their way around as Mikey Wayne's going to be heading out and heading down that way himself right now to try and get a bird's eye view. Hey, you got some of those Benton House pickles, didn't you? Speaking of which, folks, don't forget we got some great concessions here on trackside this weekend. Beck's Concessions. We've also got some great concessions with our barbecue specialists that are here with us this weekend, and the Benton House pickles with fried pickles, and a whole lot more available for you as well. And for those of you at home, too bad that you aren't here to enjoy it. Just be sure and check out GNCCRacing.com throughout the entire offseason, and be sure and be looking for the upcoming 2021 schedule, and make sure to make plans to be at some GNCC racing rounds in the 2021 season. Right now, watching these riders, basically nose to tail. This is deep into the heart of our racers, into the B classes now at the Monster Mile. Again, the Monster Mile, not necessarily a mile in length, but certainly a mile in the way you feel, and it's more than a mile. It's a monster of a mile. And this racetrack, through this section and this coal pile, the celebration of the coal fields, if you will, in southern West Virginia is certainly going to be ever-changing throughout the course of this race. Okay, I believe that was some of our XC2 battles that we saw going through there. I don't know if that was Owen and Wilkin going through there right then. I couldn't quite tell if that was them. So, but we do know that we are into some of the XC2 riders here at this 7-mile shot. Be taking a look at the Yamaha Racing drones. We'll pick up with our leaders coming out here in just a few moments, but right now a little further deep back into the XC2 class is what we're looking at. If you take a look at this particular shot, a very challenging section of the race course. You know, just at first glance at it, you don't think there's a whole lot going on there. But if you notice, it's a very narrow ravine that is quite deep. Basically, it's a one-line situation through there. So that could be a turning point in the race, especially if someone gets held up there and the leaders get held in, or someone gets in between the leaders in there and slows them down or gets crossed up in there because of trying to force their way through that section. Could get to be pretty interesting. And it looks like it may be getting deeper as the day progresses as well. Picking up in the open field sections now here with our Yamaha Racing Skycam, and that is our battle for the lead. It is still Bryson Neal out front of Cole Richardson. The gap has widened probably to about a 6-second or so deficit between the two, but again, when we're talking about track lengths and lap times of what we're looking at, these guys are still very close as far as the battle is concerned here in these beautiful mountaintop fields. And again, the CJ Raceway, want to say thanks to the Jennings family. Buck Jennings, one of the state legislatures representing Preston County, and of course Tucker County, which is the home of the Blackwater 100 that gave birth to the GNCC series. So kind of neat to be able to be here as a part of this. This is a 5-generation farm that we are on here in the great state of West Virginia as well. So a lot of family history also in these soils. A live and working farm also. Looks like if you've been around here, they've just recently in the last week or so moved all the cattle to a different part of the property so we could utilize this area of the facility for the pro pits and for the amateur pits, and of course for the racetrack itself. So hats off to the folks and all their hard work in welcoming us here to this wonderful piece of property. 53 minutes now into this race, and again, your leaders, Bryson Neal, Cole Richardson, Adam McGill, Jared McClure, Chris Borich in your XC1 class, the XC2 Pro-Am class, Wyatt Wilkin, Brandon Owens, Noah Mickelson, Tanner Walker, and Bryce Barnett. One thing I will point out, too, it looks like that we see that our XC2 Pro-Am class a little lighter today than normal. These guys, they're usually 30 riders strong, this being the last round of the season. I'm sure a lot of the guys have secured their positions on the gate, and as we've seen some moving up, like Drew Landers. Now Austin Abney had planned to move up but is out today due to illness. There is Bryson Neal now out here at the 10-mile marker. He is working his way closer to the conclusion of lap number 2. And I'm sure we'll be at about the 2 or so mile marker. We'll be seeing them again at the pro pit stops for an MMI pit stop in the VP Fuels Pro Row. So we'll get a report coming in from Mikey Waynes at that particular point in the program. So our front 2 check through, and now here comes, I believe that's our 3rd place ride there. Is that still McClure out there on the number 5 machine? Or no, that would have been Cole Richardson, I guess, has dropped back, and that might be McClure. And that should have been Chris Borich, if I can see that right. Where is Adam McGill? Actually, Adam McGill was in that mix someplace. That might have been McGill, then McClure, then Borich. And Hart now checking in as well on the number 7. So that makes a little more sense. Sorry, Adam, forgot all about you there for just a second. But the 521 still in 3rd, McClure in 4th, Borich in 5th. Hunter Hart still back in the number 6 spot. Our next ride coming through should be the number 406 of Devin Feehan. Had an opportunity to talk with him, and I said, dude, everything all right this season? And I didn't mean it in a bad way, because you know, we just haven't seen the likes of Devin Feehan that we've seen in the last couple of years in this XC1 Pro class, and he totally understood where I was coming from. He said, what matters is I've still got it. I've still got the hunger and desire, and I've still got the speed. Just wait for next year. So he's working through a lot of issues, which, you know, a lot of folks do oftentimes, and when they come off of some of their worst seasons, they come back to some of their best seasons, and that might be what we'll be witnessing out of the 406 of Devin Feehan coming up in the 2021 season. Seeing Glada checking in as well on the 712 machine, I believe, there just a few moments ago. Devin Feehan should be seeing Josh Merritt. Merritt again dropping back several seconds, so we should be also seeing Wyatt Wilkin and Brandon Owens checking in. I believe, physically in a close to a top 10 position now in that XC2 Pro-Am class. Leaders, it says, are late at this particular juncture, but we know that I believe that this second lap going to be a little longer than the first lap in conjunction as to where the start was, or I should say in relation to where the start was and the finish line itself is. So this next lap a little bit longer. It turned to 27:08 last time around. Bryson Neal making his way into the finish line. Chicanes now appearing to be literally by himself at this particular point. And checking in now, Bryson Neal, a 29:33, so we add about another minute and 25 seconds or so to that lap time from the last time around. There comes second place in, I believe. Wow. Man, Bryson Neal has really opened that lead up. We saw him starting to open it up through the first half or so of the second lap of racing, and we witnessed that it was opening up, and we said, I think, 6-second gap. That doesn't seem like a whole lot, but, wow, I think that has changed quite a bit since then. So we're waiting patiently right now to find out what that official gap is. But Bryson Neal, a 29:33. What could have, would have happened to Cole Richardson to keep him from checking in nearly as quickly? Mercy sakes alive. There he is, finally checking in. Lap 2 complete, 53.8 seconds. Bryson Neal literally, my friends, gained 50-plus seconds, a little over 50 seconds over the rest of the field, including Cole Richardson, your second-place ride. Man on a mission. They don't call it the bullet for nothing. Only 4 seconds behind Cole Richardson is Adam McGill. Jared McClure checking in the number 4 spot. Chris Borich in 5th. Our 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th place position riders are nearly nose to tail. 4 seconds between 2nd and 3rd, 2.3 between 3rd and 4th, and 1.3 between 4th and 5th right now. Another 8 seconds back in 6th place is going to be the number 7 of Hunter Hart. Hart checking in now, trying to keep the top 5 in tow, not too far out of sight just yet. Looking for Devin Feehan, who was only 8 seconds behind Hunter Hart, fellow New Yorker. But it looks like that gap is opening up between the 6th and 7th place positions, as we've yet to see the 406 of Devin Feehan check in just yet. Also looking for the rookie John Glotta, Josh Merritt, and also shouldn't be too long around the corner, we'll be seeing Wyatt Wilkin checking in. And Brandon Owens in that battle for the lead in the XC2 Pro-Am class. Well, Bryson Neal is certainly, I guess, trying to seal the deal early here. It's not a done deal, no, by no stretch of the imagination. But, man, what that has done is just opened up for a intense battle for that second place position and runner-up spot on the podium here today. So now here now at the 2-mile marker, the FMF PowerPoint, and if memory serves me correct, it's not long after this we will see the pro pits here for the pro riders. So we'll see them here, and then they'll be heading into the VP Fuels Pro Row. And then shortly after that, we're going to take a look at our amateur rundown, as we are just over the hour mark now, or approaching the 1 hour mark of this final battle of the 2020 season. Again, championships have been decided. That second place position in the point standings is up for grabs, but right now it looks like it belongs to Bryson Neal. And barring no problems, now one thing you can point out, and I don't want to give Bryson Neal, even though he's been pretty fortunate as far as some wins here this season, he's also been unfortunate, been in lead positions and in opportunities to take the win on more occasions than he has won so far this season. Let's hope he don't put himself in that same position. It really seems like he's worked those bugs out of that program, or out of his mindset anyway. And as of late, he has certainly been a true and major force to be reckoned with. Always is, no doubt. And we're seeing the true, I think, abilities of his speeds and what he is capable of. Beautiful to be able to see that. But like I said, 50 seconds, a little more than 50 seconds he was able to gain over Cole Richardson in that one lap of racing. And that, my friends, is pretty phenomenal. A 29:33 for Bryson Neal, a 30:25 for Cole Richardson. Adam McGill is a 30:26, a 30:16 for Jared McClure, and a 30:16 also for Chris Borich. So McClure and Borich seem to be approaching A little faster, a little approaching that third place position with a little bit of vigor there. So a three-way shootout going on for the third place position. And again, you can't count out it as a battle for second place either, because Cole Richardson's only 4.6 seconds ahead of Adam McGill right now, who's currently sets in the number 3 spot. Again, McClure and Borch running somewhere about 10-second faster lap time last time around. If that's an indication, then they should be around McGill, but we know, and we've said it so many times, catching a rider is only part of the battle. The big battle comes when you try to make the pass, especially when you reach podium positions in GNCC racing such as this. So we should be seeing, they got a update a little bit ago, a few moments ago. It said a minute 40, so that minute 40 nearly expiring as we are an hour and 2 minutes now into this race. Beautiful Preston County, West Virginia, the Buckwheat 100 GNCC, home of the famous Buckwheat Festival, which unfortunately didn't get a chance to happen. There's Bryson Neal at the FMF PowerPoint now, and I believe that must be just below us. I see, there he is. I got a visual on Bryson Neal right now as well on camera and in the woods right here in front of the TV booth. So, man, he's just slicing through the woods like butter out there today, no doubt about it. Going to be nearly a minute before we see that second place position, and they should be, or he should be, rolling into the VP Fuels Pro Row, where Mikey Waynes will be standing by to give us the play-by-play and the call on how things are going to break down there in the MMI pit stops coming up here in just a moment. But again, Richardson, McGill, McClure, Borch, all pretty much know.
Rodney, here comes Bryson Neal into the pits now. Standard, little splash of fuel, some freshies on the goggle side. He is the only rider in, but right away, he's off. There he goes. Bryson Neal hammering down through VP Racing Fuel Pro Row, and now we wait for the rest of the pack.
Well, you know, Walker Fowler is sitting at home right now watching with bated breath, recognizing the lead that Bryson Neal has already amassed here at the 1 hour mark. And you know that it's only adding fuel to Walker Fowler's fire right now to get that training regimen stepped up another notch. And man, I'll tell you what, if Walker finds another level out there for these boys next year, it's going to be off the scale. I don't know there is another level to reach. These guys are going so quick right now, to be honest with you. It is certainly a very intense. In and out of the pits goes Bryson Neal, as we got the report there from Mikey Waynes, the MMI pit stop on VP Fuels Pro Row. And coming up next, we should be seeing a lot of work going on. We'll see Richardson, McGill, McClure, Borch all rolling in, and here they come. There's Cole Richardson into the pits right now for his MMI pit stop. Quick splash of gas, no goggle change for him, a quick drink of water, and he is out of this one, Mikey Waynes.
Rodney, give you an update on the pits here. Obviously, everybody's stopping for fuel and goggles right now. Cole Richardson and McGill got out about right at the exact same time. Battle for second. Looks like it's going to be tightening up for you. You should be getting those guys on screen. Hunter Hart just made the exit there. I didn't catch it. It was chaos. I think he's back in like the number 4 or 5 spot.
Hey, Mikey, while you're down there, and catch Dave there, Cole's dad, and see if there's any reason as to why, or if it just happens to be the way that it is, or if something might have happened to Cole out there that's dropped him off the pace that Bryson's running right now. So we'll get a word in with that coming up here in just a few moments. But as anticipated, all the riders checking in here at the, on lap number 3 now. But again, we're only a little over 2 miles through this second lap of racing into, well, I guess I should say third lap of racing now. So that's the reason that we're pitting now at the halfway point. If you look at it, Bryson Neal actually pitted right about the 1 hour, just a little over the 1 hour mark. We are at 1 hour and 5 minutes into this one now. Richardson's been in, McGill's been in, McClure's been in, Borch has been in, Hunter Hart in, Devin Feehan, John Glotta, Wesley Wolf all have been in for pit stops now. And the report that we got was that Richardson and McGill getting out nearly at the same time, a drag race, if you will, for that second place position. So we may see a little bit of a change-up going on there if McGill has his druthers on that one today. Still no indication as to how Bryson Neal was able to open that up. Is it just sheer speed that he was able to amass and stretch out over the rest of the field. Did Cole Richardson have a slowdown for whatever reason on that lap, which maybe slowed everyone down as far as that battle for the number 2 spot is concerned. Well, we'll be listening in to for Mikey Wayne, see if we can get an update from the Cole Richardson pits over there in just a few moments. Meanwhile, Bryson Neal through the monster mile and no one in sight. Nearly a minute behind still back there in that number 2 position. Should be seeing some of the let's check in with these XC2 guys real quick for you. Brandon Owens has taken over the lead as they checked in at the end of lap number 2. Wyatt Wilkin was second. Noah Mickelson, a minute and 32 seconds back, was still in third. Dylan Walraving running in fourth. Bryce Bennett in the number 5 spot. Ronnie Rush up from 9th to 6th place on that lap of racing. Nick Davidson, former 25-plus class rider, if I'm not mistaken, moved into the Pro-Am class this weekend, so welcome Nick Davidson there. Tanner Walker in 8th. And, of course, Charlie Dunn rounding out 9th place position. Nick Davison, one of our top amateur overall riders for the 2020 season. We were watching Bryson Neal there just a moment ago. Now waiting on and catching up with Richardson and McGill. I can't quite see. Was that those guys going through right there? A big glare on that TV screen right now that makes it a little tough to see my indicators on my riders. But there he is. You can't miss that guy. Like I said, he's just slicing through this tree line like a hot knife through butter. That is Bryson Neal, the Bidwell Bullet. He runs like a bullet. He's got that speed, and he's proving it once again here today. Now, we were talking about the XC2 Pro-Am class checking in for their second lap complete and how they are breaking down. By the way, they have moved outside the top 10 overall in adjusted time. Brandon Owens is now 11th place. Wyatt Wilkin is 12th place overall. Drew Landers still 13th place overall, but Drew Landers riding from the XC1 Pro class here in this day of racing. So not a factor in what's going on between those front 2 runners, Owens and Wilkin, in the battle for the Pro-Am class win. I know, talking with a few folks, I believe that basically what it boiled down to is Drew Landers had pretty much raced his limit of Pro-Am races, and he was going to be forced to move on up to the XC1 Pro class in the 2021 season. So he wanted to get his feet wet here today, as did I'm sure Austin Abney. But as we heard from Mikey Waynes, Austin not making the race today due to illness, feeling a little under the weather. Got those flu-like symptoms, but has tested negative for the COVID. So anybody that might have been concerned about that, that is not the case for Brandon. 1 hour, 9 minutes into this race now, my friends. 1 hour, 9.5 minutes. 16 minutes for our leaders to do in. Adam, is it okay if we go ahead and take a look at some of our amateur classes? Right now we're getting close to a good point to do that. Still waiting on some of those senior B riders. We'll go and check in with some of the A class riders right now, see how they happen to be faring. Junior A, Vet A are in. We'll give them another couple minutes and then we'll start checking in with them. College B class, yeah, they've only got 1 lap of racing complete. So some of the guys up front seem to be moving at lightning pace today. Seems like a normal race for many of our other classes as we continue to watch our leader on screen. Again, nearly a minute. I'm going to go ahead and go out on a limb here and say he has hit the 1 minute deficit between himself and second place. Now, if you remember, the biggest margin of victory that we've had so far here in the 2020 season was 1 minute 59.615 seconds, which is what Bryson Neal was able to pull over the number 1 of Walker Fowler, who ironically said that he wanted to take the win by 2 minutes and nearly got beat by 2 minutes by Bryson Neal. Though Walker Fowler not here with us today due to, well, the injury that he has sustained over the summer break and trying to get a little bit of extra healing time. The doctors all said the more you ride, the longer you're going to have to wait. So they elected to take the last 2 rounds of racing off to give themselves an extra 4 weeks as far as the winter training program is concerned. So Fowler at home right now, getting himself prepared for 2021 and championship number 7. And watching this race today, I'm sure with bated breath to wonder what's going to happen as this race continues, and wondering what kind of confidence is building in Bryson Neal right now heading into this offseason. Able to amass several wins over the last few rounds of racing. If you look at the big picture here, I believe he took the win earlier this season, I believe, at round number 7 at the John Penton GNCC. And then he took a second and then had a DNF at round 9. Actually was leading that race at Beckley, West Virginia. Then he took the win at round number 10. A 13th place finish at round 11 at Ironman just 2 weeks ago. He took the win for his 3rd win of the season, 4th win of the career. Looking for the 4th win of the season and career win number 5 today for Bryson Neal if he can continue to do this. I believe we had a chance to catch up with Bryson Neal heading into this weekend.
Well, last race Ironman went really good for us. We did what we wanted to do, the game plan. We got out front early. We got the whole shot, and we just clicked off laps. We just led flag to flag and just rode as clean as race as we could, and just did what we needed to do. Cole, he kept us on us all day, kept in about that 20 to 30 second range. The track was super fast. It's kind of like a GP. It's kind of hard to make up time or gain time, I felt like, but man, Cole kept us on us. He rode really good, and we just got out front, held the lead, and ended up taking the win, and it was much needed that day. I raced here back in 2013. I did a local. I'm pretty sure I was on the Pro-Am on a Honda at that point, and one of my old friends used to race. His name Jay Shatter, and he was racing against me that day, and he was a young up-and-coming rider just like me, and we had a good battle that day, and I got the win. The track's got some good soil, good woods. The fields are big and rolling, and a lot of ground. So this place got a little bit of everything to offer, and I think with the weather we got today forecasting this whole weekend, it's going to be a great weekend to race.
A great weekend to race. Forecast, I don't think that we could have hoped for anything as nice as what it is. I mean, I was just hoping for a decent weekend, but man, to be blessed with the beautiful sunshine that we have here today certainly is a great way to wrap up the 2020 championship, especially after the year that we've had here from well, just the way everything's been going. An hour and 14 minutes in. How are we looking as far as doing this amateur rundown now, Adam? I know that we should be getting a little closer to that. All right. Okay. All right. So we'll be catching up with our amateur rundown coming up here in just a few moments. Right now, still following our leader, Bryson Neal. And the beauty of it is just watch the line choices. This is something that we don't get to see throughout much of the championship season. We got to see it a little bit more a couple of weeks ago at Ironman GNCC. The last time that we really got to see it like what we're witnessing right here was when we were in Georgia for round 3 earlier this season. As I was stating earlier, Daniel Rogerson, our drone operator, telling me, and that was, and I know he kept flying another 10 minutes or longer after that. He said he had followed riders from this morning's race for over 4 miles from a bird's eye view. This is some of the best shots that we've got out of our Yamaha Skycam all season long, at least since round 3 anyway. And Daniel, glad to have you in charge of that and making sure that it's going to get up there the way that it should, man. I tell you, we have got one heck of a crew. I know we keep talking about it, but I just, with this last round of the season, just got to pay tribute to the RacerTV crew for the amazing efforts that they put forth this year, and just the amazing, not only the efforts, but the outcome of all the efforts have really produced some great, I think, exhilarating television moments as far as this live stream is concerned. So hats off to those guys, no doubt about it, from the top all the way to the bottom. Everybody doing a great job. So again, big surprise, maybe not such a big surprise for a lot of folks, but a lot of interesting things going on there with Owens and Wilkin. Wyatt Wilkin, I know, has certainly been making and staking his claims as of lately, but to see him pull that whole shot in this XC2 Pro-Am class, lead the first lap of racing with Brandon Owens literally hot on his rear wheel, and Owens getting around, and then he hot on that wheel at the end of lap number 2. Our pro riders are due in, or excuse me, our Pro-Am riders are not due in for another 16 minutes or so. Again, Noah Mickelson, Dylan Walraven, Brian Barnett rounding out the top 5. XC1 Pro class due in less than 10 minutes for lap number 3 complete for these guys as we await our leaders at the mile marker number 7. Mikey Wayne's rejoining us here in the pits. I don't know if you got a chance to stop by.
I
did you?
I don't know what was going on. I don't know if it's the distance between here and there, but Mike's wasn't working down there. So Audible came back. We're doing it old school. But I had a chance to talk with Cole's dad. He said that the starter button is shot. It's broken. He is not sure if he hit something or what. But basically, Cole is now in a situation where Dad thinks, hey, nurse it. Keep that second place. Don't push too much. He said, that's just my plan, though. I don't know what Cole has in store, but basically he needs to go this last, 45 minutes here without it stalling out and shutting the machine off. If that happens, bad news bears.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like take what you got, maintain that position, and bring it home for second.
And, you know, you often think, well, what's he going to kill it for? How's he going to start?
Right.
But the thing you got to realize about GNCC, that's something that happens quite a bit.
For sure.
Whether it be a two-wheel or a four-wheel side of things, either way, as the race goes on, you know, a little miscue out there, it could stall out, and all of a sudden, if it does, without the starter button working, man, that could be a bear of a machine to try to start, especially a 4-stroke ATV machine. All right, let's take a look at our top 5 rundown of all of our amateur classes. Our amateur top 5 moments of the season. That's right. Sorry about that. Got a little bit ahead of myself. So, Mikey Wayne's, man, I tell you, we did a lot of things and a lot of thinking earlier today and leading into this race about the top 5 moments in GNCC for 2020. And here's the way they break down. Number 5, Johnny Gallagher, racing his 26th season as an XC1 Pro class. You know, that right there in and of itself is amazing. You know, 26 seasons of racing is one thing, but 26 seasons as a Pro class rider, our hats off to Johnny Gallagher, and really proud of that. One of our top 5 moments coming in at number 5. Our 4th moment, Adam McGill taking the win at the Mountaineer GNCC. Does it by somewhat shocking and surprise, but not really at the same time. You know, he just hadn't been in the winner's circle for a couple of years, but man, he came back in full force that day, and the West Virginia race fans
no
visor at all, came to life as McGill was able to win the Mountaineer GNCC. Look at that face. You could tell that was probably his top moment of the 2020 season, no doubt about that. As we move on to our 3rd moment of the season, man, I tell you, this is where it started to get really to the nitty-gritty and trying to sort out what were our most exciting moments of the 2020 season. How about this one? Cole Richardson. 2 wins overall, and wow. And the reason I say that is, you know, these guys have snagged a win here and snagged a win there, but to be able to take 2 overall wins and to do it so convincingly the way that he did, definitely a big mark as far as the 2020 GNCC season is concerned. And this, my friends, just tip of the iceberg, I think, of what we got to see for the future for Cole Richardson. So congratulations to him. And, of course, with that, our 2nd highlight of the 2020 season, number 2 top moment. Going to be Bryson Neal taking 3 overall wins. And the beauty of this is for Bryson Neal, man, I mean, he is probably looking at maybe this should be his 6th win of the season when you look at the big picture. But there it is. Check out that pass. That is one. Him and Walker Fowler. That may have been the crash that actually took Walker Fowler out of it. He didn't make the pass that time. If you remember, he went back the next lap, he comes through, he makes that pass. Dude, he never looked back. He was on his way to another win, and that was his second win at the same racetrack in Ohio at Sunday Creek Raceway. First the John Penn GNCC, then the Burr Oak GNCC. Back-to-back wins in his home state, if you will, and at his home track. And then he took a win just a couple of weeks ago. And our top moment of the 2020 season was none other than the greatness of Walker Fowler, capturing his 6th national championship with a few rounds to spare. He actually didn't even have to race the last couple of rounds, but he'll say it as much as anybody, even though he came up with 2 rounds left to go. This was not one of the easier championships that he was able to take out there, no doubt about it, but it certainly was one that was full of memories. And that's your top 5 moments of the 2020 GNCC season.
Walker Fowler also wrapped up the championship with 9 3/4 fingers.
And he started the season with 10.
Yeah. Pretty cool stuff.
But nonetheless, yeah, Walker with the finger, and then that little incident there with Bryson, I think, may have caused a little bit of an issue for him. I think that he said that he got a concussion out of that, and the best thing that they could do was basically just wait the rest of the season out, let that heal, and then he can get back into his training regimen. Between that and all the other problems he had during the summer break, man, I tell you, Walker was just happy to be able to walk away with championship number 6, no doubt.
That's no doubt about it. And you think about the fact that Walker Fowler in his 6th championship, he has only won, 1 out of the last 3, let's see, 7 rounds. 8 rounds.
6 races he won this year, and traditionally, you know, we see him win 8, 9, 10 races, maybe 11 or 12 races, and this is something that we haven't seen. I was looking back through the results, and I was like, man, that's kind of crazy, because there were so many number 1 finishes for Walker Fowler. If you go back and you look at a lot of the results back when Bill Balance was champion, back when Chris Borich was champion, those guys, if they got 5 or 6 wins on the season, that was a lot of wins.
Oh, yeah.
It was just consistency was what paid the huge dividends back then. Now, total domination seemed to be what really took control over until this season. Now we started to see more of a traditional type GNCC season with only those 6 wins. But look at that. I mean, on the podium every other time, even coming back off of, you know, losing that fingertip out there. That was pretty spectacular. So hats off to our champion. And I know that he has got a huge target on his back. You might as well draw a bullseye back there where that number 1 is, because Bryson Neal's coming gunning. Cole Richardson, if he can get his program together through the offseason this year, he will be coming and gunning, man. These guys, both of them, are starved for the championship, and I think that Walker Fowler feels that. I know he feels that. Other riders that, you know, that we're going to be keeping an eye out on in the 2021 season, you know, I'm still on the Hunter Hart train. I'm not going to lie. Even though, you know, he got his first win at the last race as a rookie rider, and he hasn't really, I guess, rose to the occasion during the sophomore season, the sophomore slump. That's what I'm counting that to. I think next year we're going to see a whole different rider whenever it comes to the number 7 of Hunter Hart. Another rider I expect that we'll see more out of and be more of a contender for top 5 overall positions next year. Mark my words for Devin Feehan, the 406 machine. I'm telling you, this guy has struggled, and to see the look in his eye when I talked to him there yesterday talking about this season, and he told me, I still got it. It's still there. Don't worry. It'll be back. That said a lot. That statement said a whole lot, believe it or not.
Focus, determination. There's a guy focused and determined.
Yeah.
Bryson Neal, my goodness.
Well, we want to take bets now on how far ahead he is. 2 minutes before these guys are, or before he's due in at the finish line. Another 3+ minutes before the rest of the field will be checking in. Wow.
He had a 1 minute 59 second winner, almost just under 2 minutes.
1 minute 59 seconds, 59.615.
Yep.
Those are numbers that I'm sure are blazed into his mind, mine as well. Walker Fowler's mind, and a lot of people. Walker keeps it like this. It was under 2 minutes.
It was under 2 minutes.
No matter how much it was under 2 minutes. And Bryson looks at it like, man, I almost beat him by almost exactly 2 minutes. You know, so that's good fuel for his fire. And especially heading into this offseason, man, can you imagine what kind of high Bryson Neal is going to be on? He will have taken Well, this will be his 4th win of the season, his 3rd win of the last 4 races, and I mean, just that kind of high, it's going to be tough to stop him through the offseason.
If you look at Bryson Neal, he had basically, you can look at 4 rounds, I guess. Not really 3. We'll call it 3, where he did not do the things that Walker Fowler does. He's got 2 DNFs and he's got a 13th.
Yeah.
And you look at a guy like Walker and even Caleb Russell throughout his career, on their bad days, we talked about them doing terrible, and they were still 2nd or 3rd. So
right.
it's that consistency of always being on the box, and Bryson knows that. I mean, you think back at the start of this year when he had, I believe, the DNF in round 1, and how demoralized he was. And he's like, okay, calm down. It's a long season, a lot of races left, and I think he's got to be glad he stuck it out now.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, what a heartbreaker for him. I mean, he had that one pretty much, it seemed like, at a couple different junctures. There is the young rider I was talking about, the number 7 of Hunter Hart, one that is in his sophomore slump, but looking for the junior resurgence. He'll get the junior jive.
Yeah.
The junior jive is what we'll call it when he comes out next year, if he starts doing well.
I'm ready for him to get on the podium because he's got, if he still has them, I'm sure he'll still do it. He always had the coolest, when he's in XC2, the coolest giveaways on the podium. He'd throw out Frisbees to everybody, and I miss that.
Yeah.
I'm ready for some Hunter Hart Frisbees on the box.
And he's got some really great sponsors outside the industry sponsors, too, that help him out quite a bit, too. So our hats off to him for being able to achieve exactly that as well. And another rider that does good at marketing himself is Devin Feehan.
Yeah.
You know, funny we talk about the New Yorkers the way we do, but man, they have got a great contingent of riders coming up out of there. You know, we recognize that a lot of times, you know, we talked about the off-road racing mecca being in southeastern Ohio, but in the last few years we've seen Indiana start to produce a lot of riders, and not only West Virginia, Ohio, and Pennsylvania producing a lot of great riders, but also now New York producing those great riders and those top standouts like that as well on both the 4- and 2-wheel side of things.
One of our Indiana boys, give him a shout out. Youth ATV overall winner today, Ty McGahey.
Ty McGahey.
Indiana.
Ty McGahey?
Ty McGahey, yeah. We got her dialed in. I told him after the race today, I said, Ty, trust me. I said, I've got your name dialed in because I've known you for a long time. I said, but you keep getting top 3s like this and overall next year, Rodney's going to know that last name. I guarantee it.
Well, I got it right today, no doubt about it. Hey, we are nearing the completion, actually have completed lap number 3 for our leader, Bryson Neal, turning in a lap time, that time of 30 minutes and 19 seconds with that pit stop. So really almost an identical lap time minus the pit stop, which might have been 10 seconds or so that he was stopped in there. And that's about what the difference is in those laps. I think he had a 30:09 last time around, and actually, I think he might have been in, 29 something actually. So might have slowed down just a little bit, but not very much, man. Bryson Neal is on rails out here today. Here comes our 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th place riders checking in now, and this is the way that this is going to be. Oh, McClure up to 2nd.
Wow.
Cole Richardson back to the number 3 spot, so that minus that starter might be causing more issues, if nothing else, mentally than anything else. Chris Borich into the number 4 spot. Adam McGill has dropped back to at least the number 5 position, as we don't see McGill checking in now. We know that those guys were very tight coming out of the pro pits there just a few moments ago. There is McGill in now, 13 seconds back of Chris Borich. Borich less than a second behind Richardson. Richardson 2.5 seconds behind McClure. McClure 1 minute and 11 seconds behind Bryson Neal. Now at this pace, now we saw him gain 50 seconds in that one lap of racing. Will we see 50 seconds? It was 53 seconds the last time the gap, so he only gained about 15 seconds that time around, maybe a little less than that. But what I'm saying is, could we see a 2-minute? Could we see a 2-minute lap? All right, the 3-way battle that we were talking about for the 2nd place spot, McClure, Richardson, and Borich, here they roll, my friends. And wow, man, could we see Chris Borich back up on the podium in this final race of the 2020 season?
I hope so. I'm rooting for him. I talked to him a little bit yesterday when I was setting up the podium over there, and he's like, man, I have not been up there all year. I said, go out there and change it tomorrow, as if I have, you know, any control.
Maybe you set everything in motion.
So if Chris Borich succeeds today, you guys are welcome.
Yeah. It's Mikey Wayne's. It's all because of Mikey Wayne's. And I want you to stake that claim on the podium.
I'll be like, you're here because of me telling you, just get up here. It's that simple.
Yeah, how many times has Rodney Tomlin told you to do that and you haven't been able to do it?
You're not listening.
But you listen to Mikey. I guess these kids, I'm just going to tell you who to tell.
There you go.
Now on, and then maybe
I'll relay the message.
Yeah, they listen to you somewhat better. But, yeah, this battle for second still waging on as they wind through these trees, Mikey. And, again, this Yamaha Racing Skycam, to be able to watch these battles like this is just second to none, man. I mean, you couldn't ask for better racing. And, you know, even though we got a minute and 11 seconds separating first and second place position, this battle for third, I think, is going to take us home today if it stays like this.
It's tight. I'm hoping they reel in on Bryson Neal and we see him going wheel to wheel through the finish. It's time. It's been too long since we've seen it.
Mikey, I'm going to steal a pickle.
All yours.
The Benton House pickles, homemade kosher chips. And I don't mean to eat online, but I had to have one of these, man.
They're hard to beat.
They are, most certainly. And if you come out to a GNCC, you too can get yourself some Benton House pickles. They are a GNC. I think this is the only place in the world, other than if you go to the Benton House itself and pick up Benton House pickles.
Delectable crunch. Battle for second on screen through the woods. Good battle. I don't know what else to say about it. That battle for second. It's going to come down, I think, to is Cole Richardson willing to push it to maybe capture that second? Like his dad was saying, you know, ride it in. And at that point, it was talking about ride it in for second. Maybe it changes if he's sitting back there in the number 3 spot, because how many points is he willing to give up here?
Well, he's got an 18-point cushion back to that 4th place position points holder, which is Jared McClure right now. Jared McClure looking at 215 points for the season so far, and looks like Cole Richardson sitting in 3rd has 233 points, by the way. Bryson Neal sitting in 2nd with 237, and of course Walker Fowler wrapped up the championship with 301 points a couple of rounds ago. But regardless, I think he's got a pretty good cushion there. One thing that might change the face of it is if he would DNF. So that's the one thing that he's got to make sure he does not do is DNF. If he can keep the machine running and rolling, he should be able, and finish that top 20, he should be able to, for the most part, hang on to that number 3 overall position today. I mean, there are a few variables, a few positions that he could fall back to that might change that, but I think for the most part, as long as he stays in the top 20 today, he should be all right.
Should be a good FMF PowerPoint leader on screen. Wow. Hard to miss that yellow helmet.
It is, isn't it? And I love the fact that he wears that yellow helmet.
Easy to spot. Makes it easy on guys like us, that's for sure.
No doubt about it. And you talked about that sun. Look how low the sun is laying in the sky here today. Shadows are starting to get long. And, Mikey, you know as well as I do, I mean, just watching this, this is going to be a factor for some of these riders, because it's going to change the look of that racetrack out there and how those lines, I mean, the lines are going to be the same, and they're going to be developed the way that they're developed, but you're not going to see them likely the way that they are.
Just coming back from pro pits to here on the utility quad, it's getting a little sketchy out there already, the way the shadows are cast right now. So I can't
that's
imagine
just doing
being out
open
there
pasture
racing. Bingo.
I love this place, man.
It is beautiful.
It is a great place.
So this is what I was wondering. I mean, you got to think, be safe.
Yeah.
Get you one more splash of fuel, and I'm sure most of these guys are going to be doing the exact same thing.
Yeah, I mean, he's only got about 30 minutes or so, 23 minutes or so before he's due in for a checker flag out there and the conclusion of this race. But, yeah, why not? Better safe than sorry, especially with what he's seen so far here in 2020 with all the misfortunes. I think maybe he even ran out of gas.
Yep, he did.
So, and he's not the only one that had to. I think Walker had to happen a couple of, if you remember Camp Coker, I think it was Adam McGill ran out of gas. And thanks to Jared McClure, who bumped into him from 4th place, pushed him across the finish line, and he was able to secure a podium position finish at Camp Coker earlier this year. You know, I think that we may have enough of these amateurs in right now, and I do want to get into these. And Adam, if we're ready for this, I'd really, maybe now, maybe not now is a good time. You let me know. You're the producer. You know what's going on there. But we'll start taking a look at the overall standings as far as the class-by-class breakdown, but I just wanted to study this overall top 20 for you real quick. As we told you, right now our top 10 are all XC1 Pro Class riders. Neal, McClure, Richardson, Borch, McGill, your top 5. Hunter Hart in 6th, Behan 7th, Galata 8th, Wesley Wolf 9th, and Josh Merritt in 10th. Then we have Wyatt Wilkin in 11th, leading the XC2 Pro Am class. He's gotten back around, I believe, and now Brandon Owens dropping to the number 2 spot in that class is 14th overall. Drew Landers actually in 12th place overall from the XC1 class. Greg Cover from the XC1 class is 12th overall. As we said, though, Owens, who was leading the XC2 Pro Am class, has dropped about a minute and 3 seconds, so he's had some sort of problems out there. We see that Noah Mickelson still running in the number 3 spot. He's a minute 32 behind Brandon Owens in that 3rd place position. Johnny Gallagher, 17th place overall. One thing to point out about Johnny, not only does he celebrate 26 seasons in one of our top 5 moments that we recognized there a few moments ago, but nearly everyone, I think that you could go back in every race that Johnny Gallagher has participated in. I think there might be a handful. There's less than 10 events that he did not finish the top 20 in, which is remarkable.
He is for the baseball fans out there, the Cal Ripken Jr. of GNCC. Just never misses, always can count on him.
Yeah, and though he's only got 1 win to his credit and a couple of other podiums throughout his career, every time that he has done it, it has been monumental, magical moments. Yep. As we continue on down, we see that Dylan Walraven is out there. He's running a top 20, I think 4th right now in the XC2 class. Bryce Barnett rounding out the top 5. Big Papa P, Jeff Pickens, the 21, the leader of the Vet A30 Plus class. He is your top overall amateur right now, and he is running currently 20th place overall. There they are. That's 2nd, 3rd, and 4th place positions. McClure, Richardson, and Borich running nose to tail right now, still on this 3rd or now 4th lap of racing. I believe this is our final lap, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
Into the Monster Mile now. We roll through the coal fields.
Boy, that is a technical section, to say the least. I mean, it doesn't look like it would take much to buck you off the machine through there.
No doubt. Rolling through the coal, or as some of us like to say, rolling coal. Speaking of rolling coal, can Cole Richardson roll coal? The coal train, so to speak. Can he make it from time through the coal pile? It's spelled a little bit differently, but you get the idea. The cliches.
There you go. Yeah, that battle for second, that is going to be a tight one there. I mean, it's anybody's race up for grabs for that number 2 spot.
And I don't recognize that we've seen any passes in this battle for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th this year.
No, this has got to be that part of the section that they were talking about that's so tight. And I was talking to some of the guys down there on Pro Row, and they said there are places to pass, but you better commit if you want to pass at this race. You got to make your mind up and just go for it.
Yeah, you can't second guess yourself. That's for sure. And that's the beauty of coming to these new places like this. Here we go. Cole rolling through the coal pile now. Cole is chasing, I believe, McClure and also Chris Borch in amongst those guys. And I don't think that was them that came through there. That was some other traffic coming through.
I believe that 3rd right there was Borch, or
was
4th, excuse me.
Okay, maybe.
Yeah, I think that was
glare on that, that's making it tough for me to see. That, and I got super glue right here on my glass lens that I cannot get on. Makes it tough. 20 minutes left in this race, and let's go ahead and keep an eye on this TV screen. I'm going to bump into some of these amateur classes for us real quick. We're going to start with the Vet A class. They were one of the front runners there. Big Papa P, Jeff Pickens leading that one. We've got Wes Kinsley, the number 187 on Morgantown, West Virginia, in the number 2 spot. Then it was A.J. Kuntz, the 429 out of Pennsylvania, in 3rd. Josh Whitehead out of Sinking Springs, the 622 in 4th. And Curtis Crump, the 424, rounding out your top 5 out of Hubbard, Ohio. Now, who is running 2nd in the overall top amateur classes right now? That's a good question to answer. I didn't know if that was that Vet A rider that is still with us. It is. Wes Kinsley is your 2nd place in the overall top amateur, and that also puts A.J. Kuntz in as 3rd place overall amateur. And when's the last time that we saw our top amateurs, all 3 coming from the same classes? I mean, I don't recognize that it's happened this season.
It's been a while. It's definitely been a while.
Wow, interesting point to ponder there, no doubt about that. as we'll take a quick scan to see what's going on here in the Senior A class right now. Brian Foltz, the 530 from Sharpsville, Pennsylvania, 1 minute and 3 second lead over Brian Shaw, the 828 from Harrisville, Pennsylvania. Mark Batson, a former ATV moto guy out of LaSalle, Michigan, running in the third place position. Brian Axline, the 435 from Kemar, Maryland, is fourth. And Todd Moscala, I call him the Marlboro Man, the 723 out of Uniontown, Pennsylvania. He is a true blue, down to the core GNCC man. There's no doubt about it. He rounds out your top 5 in that Senior A class. As we look at our next class that we'll take a look at will be our College A class. And the College A class has Chase Allison leading that one out of McClellantown in Pennsylvania. Wow, he's got a 4 minute and 8 second lead over the 805 of Corey Vandeliner out of South Salem. I have not seen a lead that big in a non-muddy race all season long. In this College A class especially. Cody Forrester back at the number 3 spot aboard the 404. The 832 of Caden Ryan from St. Clairsville, Ohio is 4th. Kevin Masters, 715 from Morgantown, West Virginia in 5th. The 620 Zach Knight out of Harrisville, West Virginia in 6th. 7th is the 430 Keaton Henderson. He is out of Wattsburg, PA. 928 James Glott out of Waxhaw, North Carolina, 8th. 9th place Ryan Meyer from Baxter, Iowa on the 422. And the 323 of Dylan Hagerman out of Windsor, New York rounds out the top 10 in that College A class.
Head to the finish, I think.
Wait a minute, I think you got a few minutes still.
A few minutes?
Yeah, 15 minutes still.
15?
Yeah. Stick around.
Stick around.
Stick around, Mikey. We'll be sending you out here pretty soon as we go next to the Vet B class. Did I hit the Junior A class? I'm not sure if I got Junior A or not. No, I did not get Junior
I probably distracted you.
Junior A 22 plus class. Brody Livingood leading Justin Miller. Alex Alioff in the 3rd place position. Alan Blavos in 4th. And it's Anthony Herring, the 745, rounding out the top 5. Now as we take a look at the B classes, we've got Vet B class. David Kite leading that one out of Northeast Maryland. I believe that's David Kite Jr. We've got the 678 of Sean Stuck in 2nd. Cody Holcomb in 3rd. Ben Dunlop in the number 4 spot aboard the 423. And Dave Ashby rounds out your top 5 in the Vet B 30 plus class. Our next class we'll take a look at will be our Junior B class. Nick May, the 188 out of Monongahela, Pennsylvania, 2 minutes 15 seconds over Corey Pancake, the 402 in 2nd. Timothy Ryan Mazzella, the 333 in 3rd. 4th place Stephen Martin, the 721 from Greenfield, Ohio, and rounding out the top 5, the 965 of Henry Moore from Oakland, Maryland. And then as we look at the College B class, it's Chance Hickey out of Middletown, Delaware, leading Breland Secure, who got the whole shot in this one out of Clearfield, Kentucky on the 326. 357 Jacob Fleming in 3rd. 401 Ramey Wilkinson in 4th. And 724 Trey Burlew rounds out your top 5 in the College B 16 to 21-year-old class. And Senior B class, Richie McCauley out of Elkins, West Virginia, not too far from where we are right now, leading Jason Flaviano, who got the whole shot of Gyrad, Ohio. Scott Wilhelm, the 232 out of McMurray, Pennsylvania, 3rd. Wes Smith out of Richmond, Kentucky in the number 4 spot. Nick Lambruno, the 582 out of Morgantown, West Virginia, rounds out the top 5. And that is our amateur rundown here on RacerTV.com and GNCC Live. At the mile marker number 7, our amateurs are going through, and our leaders are, well, less than 15 minutes away from the finish line and the checker flag. Can Bryson Neal hang on to it for his 4th win of the season? Career win number 5? Stick around to find out. GNCC Live continues after this.
It's hard to put our adventures on hold, but now is the perfect time to prepare for their return. AMSOIL has your back with fast, free shipping, and ordering has never been easier. Just look up your vehicle, select your product, add an oil change to your cart, and check out. Spend $50 on AMSOIL products, and shipping is on us. Order now at AMSOIL.com.
Even when you're the best, you never stop striving to be better. With over 40 years of experience in motorcycle sales and service, we know racing. Our inventory of Yamaha motorcycles, sport bikes, dirt bikes, ATVs, and side-by-sides is extensive and constantly changing. Stop by LoJack Cycle Sales today in Tarentum, Pennsylvania, and visit our online inventory at www.lojacks.com. Yamaha YZs. It's why we ride.
Hi, my name is Andrea Lieb, the director of On Track School. How would you like to go to a school where we take into consideration how students learn best? Well, we do that because we find if we can build the curriculum around the things you are interested in, you're going to do a better job. The mission at On Track School is that educational success is possible while chasing your dreams. Not only will our staff help students to achieve success, they will cheer you on to the finish line. We encourage you to check out On Track School at ontrackschool.com, where we can help you chase your dreams and still get a quality education.
Grand National Cross Country is America's premier off-road motorcycle racing series. Riders compete on extended cross-country courses of 8 to 12 miles per lap and races lasting up to 3 hours. Up the mountains and through the trees, you'll find the best riders in GNCC. On MAV TV, Motorsports Network.
GNCC series on RacerTV.com is brought to you by MMI. Get there faster, smarter. Specialized turbo e-bikes. It's you, only faster. And by Rocky Mountain ATVMC.com. Get ready.
And welcome back to GNC.
This week in Yamaha history. At the 2011 Rock Run GNCC, the field was poised for a great and fierce battle. North Carolina's Brian Cook had gotten off to the early lead, but a young champion by the name of Chris Borch, along with Adam McGill, Bill Balance, Chris Bithell, and more, were waging war as the young XC2 Pro-Am prodigy Yamaha's Walker Fowler was in hot pursuit and aiming to claim his first ever overall victory. In the end, Walker Fowler bested the boys from the GNCC from back on row 2 and marked win number 1 of now over 50 overall wins, each one while riding aboard a Yamaha. And that's this week in Yamaha history.
Wow. Over 50, now over 60 wins for Walker Fowler, and 6 GNCC titles since that first win at Rock Run. I'll never forget that day. That we left that night and came back, and we had a windstorm that came through that night that was just out of this world. I mean, we had every tent, every piece of equipment that we had nailed down got blown away that night.
That's awful.
It was crazy. I mean, it was a skeleton looking kind of atmosphere around that day, believe it or not. But man, the racing was once again unprecedented, as it always is here in GNCC racing. And speaking of unprecedented, this rider right here, man, unbelievable what we've seen out of him in this 2020 season. And like we say, the results just do not reflect the kind of championship year that Bryson Neal has had.
Yeah, Bryson's been incredible, and you got to give him credit. I think it's one of those situations where, you know, the last couple rounds, no Walker Fowler. You might hear some folks say, well, yeah, but you know, Walker wasn't out there. That's true, not taking anything away from that, but I got to think that Bryson Neal, with what he showed us this year, even if Walker was out there, he'd be battling with him right now.
Yeah, and I think Walker will admit to the exact same thing.
100%.
Because, I mean, in talking, Walker had the opportunity to come visit with us at the last race, and the respect that young man showed the competitors that he raced against. Unbelievable. I'm just so impressed by Walker. I mean, he just continually impresses me, but the way that he did that and the way that he recognizes that talent and doesn't try to downplay it, he actually uses it as fuel for himself to try to get better.
Yeah. Rodney, I'm going to head down to the finish. I'm going to catch it live.
All righty, you do that. You're going to get to see the excitement down there, and I'm sure a lot of race fans are going to be down there with you as well as all of our photographers, as we heard you talking about it. You know when the race is getting close to being over because all the photographers start making their way down. Here we go. I believe we're looking for that battle for the second place position rolling through right now. McClure, Richardson, and Chris Borch in the second, third, and fourth place positions rolling through here at the 7-mile marker now. We should be seeing coming up soon the number 521 of Adam McGill, but I believe that gap is starting to open up a little bit back between the 4th and 5th place positions. And then not far off that pace would be the number 7 of Hunter Hart. Now the question is, has Hunter been able to bridge the gap between he and the 521 of McGill? And has he been able to make the pass? If he has done so, I guess we'll get the answer to that question coming up here in just a moment. Mikey Wayne's grabbing the wrong jacket. I just don't want him to flex. He'll rip the sleeves out of my jacket if he flexes. Starting to get a little bit cooler. We've seen temperatures right around that 70-degree mark. It has been an absolutely perfect fall day. Picture perfect here in the mountains of West Virginia. There's no doubt. And the race fans, as you can see, dressed T-shirts and shorts. And 2 weeks ago in Indiana, it was a far cry different from this. I was afraid we were going to be seeing snow. But what we are seeing here today is pure on domination by that number 2 machine, Bryson Neal, as he winds his way through this final lap of racing now. About less than 7 minutes now before we should be seeing him at that finish line region. We'll be picking him up here on our GNCC and Yamaha Racing Skycam here in just a moment. We'll see that number 2 Yamaha checking in here in just mere moments. Young rider once again out of Bidwell, Ohio. CST, Hauser Racing, and Wiseco Performance Pistons sponsored rider. The riders have funded that program, and I'm sure they are proud of what their funding has been able to achieve this year. I'm not sure if that was Bryson. Don't think so. That came out of the woods right there, but we still wait with bated breath to see where our leader is. Late in the race, getting a little tougher to find him. He's so far ahead of everyone else right now, and I believe that's him right there, making his way out of the woods. So we're going to go with it. And the way he is riding right now, that has got to be Bryson Neal on his way home to Checkers. Win number 4 of the season. Win number 5 of his career. And man, what a great high he has to be riding on at this particular juncture. Still a few miles, a couple miles from the finish line. Actually, a little less than 2 miles, I believe we are from the finish line at this particular point. Calling it just a little over 5 minutes. Be interesting to see what that gap has amassed to in this final lap of racing. We saw a 1 minute and 11-second gap between Bryson Neal and Jared McClure at the end of lap number 3. Again, the big window this season so far in this ATV class has been a 2-minute time frame that Walker Fowler kind of set the goal for early in the season. And if another rider can pull that off over here today, you know that they're going to feel pretty stoked about that. There's no doubt, especially over the likes of Cole Richardson and Jared McClure, and even the great Chris Borich back there in that number 4 position. Now, Chris, you remember the Borich? Remember how we used to talk about the Borich? I have to wonder if Cole Richardson is aware of the Borich. I'm sure he heard about it coming up through the ranks and things of that nature, but has never really been Borich. So here we are in a last lap situation where Chris Borich could bring that whole lifestyle pack into play here. There they are, the battle for second, third, and fourth place positions rolling out in the open field section. And it's as tight as it has been for the last couple of laps of racing. And I'll tell you, it's as tight as it has been since the drop of the green flag. The only difference is that Bryson Neal has just stretched this lead out over the rest of the field and these other 3 riders, to where it doesn't seem like it's tight a race, but that's exactly what it is. Look at that. We got a pass, and that, Borich going for the pass on Cole Richardson there for that number 3 position around the pond, pulling up side by side, not able to make it. There goes the Phoenix Racing Honda rider now. He threads the needle and takes over the number 3 spot, at least for the moment. We've got ourselves a drag race, folks. They're going back and forth into another one of these turns, and they're side by side coming out of that one. I think Richardson got him back. So, man, what a battle for that number 3 position going on right now. Second place, I believe, is still Jared McClure, is probably feeling a little more comfortable, at least at this particular juncture, but not for much longer because the pace has quickened behind him now, and things are really starting to heat up as we roll toward the finish line of the checkers in this battle for the second, third, and fourth place positions. Tightening things up now as we head into this wood section. We'll get a chance to see what happens here in these closing moments as we check in this box-in-box. We see on the top left-hand screen there, that is Bryson Neal, the number 2 at mile marker number 10, a little more than a mile away from the finish line himself, and checker flag, and of course a great way and a great explanation point to end the season on for 2020 and heading into this offseason. There's that nose-to-tail battle going through the woods in the bottom right-hand side as well. As you can see, no changes in this battle that is going on as they come back out of that wood section now. And the battle wages on. It's starting to stretch out just a little bit. Second place starting to fill that breathing room again. And here we are, another one of those open field sections. I'm beginning to wonder, is that maybe Cole Richardson getting into that number 2 spot, and that might be McClure and Borich battling it out for third. However that goes, we have got a great battle going on, and we'll know a little bit more as they get a little bit closer to the finish line region here in just a moment. Man, through those chicanes, look at that, trying to set up for the pass now. We're about ready to see another one strike here for that third place position. This battle for third and fourth place off the hinges right now. Borich still trying to stick it in. I believe that is Cole Richardson in that number 3 spot. We'll get a little better view of what's going on here. Yep, that's it. It is Richardson in third. That is Chris Borich in fourth, and that is Jared McClure. So that was a pass for third we saw by Chris Borich, and a pass back by Cole Richardson as we roll through mile marker number 10 now, and they are still nose to tail. Chris Borich trying to pull the old Borich on Cole Richardson. Will he be able to make it happen for that final podium position here today at the Buckwheat 100 GNCC? Back in another open field section. This seems to be the place where Chris Borich shines brightly now as Jared McClure starting to stretch it back out once again over the third and fourth place battle that is taking place. And just a little bit of breathing room for McClure, the sneaky snake, if you will, right now in second as these two continue to go at it for the third place position now. Winding their way through the trees and nobody taking alternate lines. Why? Because they're not available. This is a very tight wood section. You get off the trail here, you're going to clip a tree. You're going to find yourself in all kinds of trouble. Wow. Almost looks like a scene from a fairy tale, watching this from high above like this, and maybe the enchanted forest itself, and what kind of enchantments are going to take place in this race as the pace continues to quicken here in the closing moments. Chris Borich got his sights set on Cole Richardson, still running about 4 bike lengths behind through these tight tree sections now. Jared McClure running about 12 bike lengths ahead of your third place ride right now. Borich now starting to close that gap up a little bit on Cole Richardson. We could see this tight. Meanwhile, top right, left-hand corner of the screen, check it out. Coming through the final chicanes at the finish line, he will do it. The number 2, Bryson Neal, will take the checkers. 4th win of the season and win number 5 of his career as he takes the win here at the AMSOIL Buckwheat 100 GNCC. And here we go. We got another pass trying to make happen in the lower right-hand corner. Chris Borich trying to thread needles out there as he pulls up side by side. Some alternate lines going into this wood section now. So things are getting pretty heated for this third place position right now. Bryson Neal not only secures the win here today, but also secures the overall second for the 2021 season. He will be wearing the number 2 plate. Here we go into the finish line chicanes here soon with our second, third, and fourth place position riders. Will Chris Borich be able to pull off that patented move on Cole Richardson, the Cole train, as we roll toward the finish line and the checker flag in this battle for second, third, and fourth place positions? Where are our leaders? where are our second, third, and fourth place riders? They should be checking in any time. By the way, a 30-minute and 55-second lap time, slowing down a little bit there for Bryson Neal. But what does that mean behind him? What took place behind him? Did those guys slow down? Did that gap continue to open? And who, in what order, are these riders going to come through in when the checkers finally fly on this amazing battle that is waging here before our very eyes? And I'm not, there they are, there they come. That is Jared McClure, and here we come with Cole Richardson, and there is the number 3 of Chris Board. Still one last chance to make the strike, but it's not going to happen. Cole Richardson will set, wow, half a bike length behind was Chris Borich, I believe, on that one. Wow, that one was pretty good. We'll get the official count on that one. Bryson Neal taking the win. Jared McClure taking second. Cole Richardson taking third. Chris Borich, it says 1.6 seconds behind, but I have to think that that was a lot tighter and a lot closer than that as we made our way through there. And I tell you, man, it is certainly exciting, and everybody's got to be amped up after a battle like that. There's no doubt. And I believe that Mikey Waynes might be standing by down at the finish line with a pretty excited Bryson Neal right now, as he knows he secured that number 2 place, but more importantly, he's got himself a big explanation point for this season. He's got himself something to look forward to as he trains for the 2021 championship.
Well, thanks, Rodney. Down here with Bryson Neal. Bryson, man, fresh off of this one, another win here in 2020.
Oh, man, it feels good. I got out to the lead, I think, right around the end of the first lap, and Cole was right with me. And, man, I was filling my oats the first 2 laps, and we was really laying it down. We was really riding a good, solid edge. And that track today, you could put one tire wrong, it'd bite you. And we was riding super hard, super fast. Cole, I'm just going to assume that something happened. You know, he clipped the tree, clipped something, or it set him back. And then the last 2 laps, I was just like, man, Nugs, my Nugget bike, it's got like 10 races on it. A little bit too much than I wanted on a bike in a season. I was like, please make it. I know you've been rode hard this year, just make it, please. And so I thought a little bit too much. You know, he was able to get it done and bring it in smooth and easy and get the win.
Well, Bryson, big congratulations to you, man. This season, you've seen multiple wins. Obviously, Walker not out here racing these last couple of rounds, but I got to think confidence very high heading into 2021.
Yeah, it's all about growth, you know. Even the mechanical breakdowns that we had, you know, the 3 this year, you know, they're just lessons, and they just made me better, made me prepare for next year's battles. And, you know, getting multiple wins in a season, getting multiple whole shots now, and it's just all positives for me. And we're just trying to keep it all together. And next year we're going to keep try to climb. And you know, Walker, he's won like last 6 times. And you know, next year we're ready for the battle. And we know he's going to be tough. But man, we got a good group of guys around us, and we're just going to do it with a smile and do it good old boys out of truck and trailer and try to make it happen.
Good old boys made it happen today. Your winner here today, Bryson Neal.
Yeah, good old boy, no doubt about that. Bryson Neal. I like how you put that. Good old boys doing it out of a truck and trailer, simplifying that. And, you know, you look up and down Pro Row, and, you know, the ATV guys, a lot of them operate out of a truck and trailer or motorhome and trailer or something along those lines. Not like the semis on the 2-wheel side of things. It's more of a simpler kind of program for these ATV guys. And a lot of the guys like it even more simple, like Bryson Neal. It seems like the simpler his program is, good, like he says, get a good group of guys around you, a good group of people around you supporting you and here in your corner, and it makes a world of difference. And we recognize that out of just simply watching what took place there with Bryson Neal's program here in this 2020 season. It's something that we've been waiting on happening and waiting to see it to come to pass, and finally here in 2020 it does, and it only sets the stage for a great future. And anybody that follows GNCC knows that, well, we got ourselves some pretty intense things coming up as far as 2021 is concerned. Speaking of intense, this guy right here, Jared McClure, they don't get much more intense than him. At the same time, they don't get more laid back. Let's check in with our second place finisher.
To go out there, gnarly battle there at the end, man.
Yeah, it was a battle. I think I didn't look back much, but 3 or 4 of us all together there in that group, and pretty tight all day. Had a tight. It's technical. It's everything they said. Slick. Everything. No problem. It was a fun track though. I liked it. It had a little bit of everything, a lot of ups and downs, some cool ridges, good battles. Got by Cole there, I think 3rd lap, and just kind of was running my own pace, but they all hung on to me. You know, I was going as fast as I thought I had a good pace, but every time I looked back, they were there, so kept the pressure on, but that's fun, and you know, ended up 2nd, so real happy for end of year with 2nd place.
What's the mindset moving into 2021?
You know, just take what we have and just improve it that little bit more. You know, every year we try to tweak it a little bit, you know, and we here took a little bit of tweaking and, you know, had some good races, bad races, but we learned from everything, so we'll take all the positives and come back next year and try.
There you go, guys. 2nd place finisher here today, Jarrett McClure.
Well, I'll tell you, that rider right there has certainly lived up to his nicknames of the Sneaky Snake and the Cobra. Man, he can sneak one in, or he can strike hard and take you down. There's no doubt about it. Jarrett McClure, a very strong finisher here at the end of the season. It's good to see him back near the top, if not on the top, at the end of the years like we've seen him in years past. Cole Richardson certainly had a race for himself today. Early in the battle, it was between he and Bryson Neal, and then whatever issues, dropping him back to 4th. At one point, I think, in this race, in that heated, intense battle, right down to the checker flag between Cole Richardson and Chris Borich, was one for the ages. There's no doubt about it. Really keeping us on our edge, the edge of our seats, right up to the very, very end. Well, bitter-sweet end if you happen to be Chris Borich, and a sweet end if you happen to be Cole Richardson. So worked out in his favor as far as 3rd on the day. That will also secure the overall number 3 for Cole Richardson for the 2021 season. We'll be heading down to check in with Cole here in just a couple of moments. By the way, Adam Gill checking in the number 5 spot behind Chris Borich. Hunter Hart holds on for 6th. Devin Feehan in 7th. 8th will go to John Glotta Jr. Wesley Wolf in 9th. And Wyatt Wilkin will round out the top 10 overall. He will be your winner in the XC2 Pro-Am class. So those are the only riders we have in so far with 4 laps complete. Looks like we should be seeing Josh Merritt maybe check in next as far as the XC1 Pro class is concerned. And we'll be checking in with Cole Richardson and Mikey Waynes here in just a moment. And we'll be getting the word on what Cole's day was like. I'm sure it was not the day that he'd hoped for, but at the same time, man, he fought hard. He dug deep to get what he was able to take away from this race day today. So my hat's off to the Cole train. What a phenomenal ride you put together today, man. Well, looks like we got a little question and controversy maybe brewing for this 3rd place position overall finish. As we said, Chris Borich pulling up nearly side by side at the checkers. Man, I don't know. That's hard to tell. I said a half a bike length, but I have to wonder as we look at this a little bit closer. Man, I don't know who tripped the transponder first. It kind of looks like maybe Cole had a little bit of an edge, but that is at this angle. Who knows if you were at Ricky Towery or another official's angle, what it looks like from that one, but that is close. Now it says 1.6 seconds or 1.5 seconds or so that separated them on timing and scoring, but we can see visually that is not the case. Chris Borich, I believe, felt that he took the 3rd place position finish and that overall 3rd place spot. As you see, he went into the scoring barrels in that 3rd place position thinking that he had made that pass, and you have to wonder, did Cole think the same thing because he let Chris go ahead of him there? But regardless of what the circumstance and the situation is, they'll make the official call on that one, and we'll find out what it is coming up here pretty soon. So we're going to roll with Cole and a 3rd place interview with Mikey Waynes, I believe.
Hey, thanks, Rodney. Yeah, down here with Cole Richardson, man. We didn't know. Was Cole 3rd? Was he 4th? We don't know. We're going back and forth. I talked to scoring. They're like, well, we don't really know either. We're trying to figure it out. We looked at the RacerTV footage. Looks to us like you finished in 3rd, so we're going with it, man. Talk to us about this wild finale to GNCC.
You know, going into this race, the biggest thing was, trying to get the win, because if Bryson won or I won, that would end up second in points. And we were right there the first lap. We were neck and neck. I was feeling good, and we got into PM only section, and I just bobbled a little bit. And I mean, even if you look right here, the starter completely popped out of my button, and we were dead in the woods. So, and then I see McGill coming through the woods. It was in a tight section. I put my quad on the track, so he had nowhere to go. And I actually put my foot out, and he started pushing me through the woods, and I actually didn't get it bump started, and he left me hanging, which, it's mid-race. I mean, he gave it an effort, but, out of nowhere, I don't know who it was, a lapper, or I don't think it was a lapper that early. Someone broke, came running through the woods and got me bump started, and, I just had to ride the race without stalling. If we stalled in a valley or somewhere, the race was over, and we would have possibly, lost third in points. So, it made it for an interesting day. Chris was all over me. Jared was riding good. It's a bummer we weren't able to ride to our capability today.
All right, last question, Cole. We're going to see you next year, right? Come on.
We'll see.
We'll see. All right, we'll take it. For today, make some noise. Third place finisher, Cole Richardson.
Well, there you go. I mean, uncertainty, and hopefully this is not the last time we get a chance to see Cole Richardson in this situation, and we get to see him battling for more wins and more podiums and maybe even a championship in the 2021 season. As we pointed out, Cole not real sure of what the 21 season brings to him as far as sponsorships. Nothing set in stone, nothing really in the works for the rider as of yet, but hopefully that'll turn around for him, especially with the season that he had and the races that he was able to put together. So we take a look at a Rocky Mountain ATV MC overall top 10 for the AMSOIL Buckwheat 100 GNCC. Bryson Neal, Jared McClure, Cole Richardson, Chris Borich in 4th, Adam McGill in 5th, Hunter Hart in 6th, Devin Feehan in 7th, John Glotta Jr. in 8th, Wesley Wolf in 9th, and your XC2 Pro-Am class winner, Wyatt Wilkin, rounding out the top 10 here today as far as the overall is concerned. And wow, what a day we've had here, no doubt about it. Beautiful weather, great track conditions to say the least, and we're going to do it all again tomorrow with the two-wheel side of things. Be sure and join us tomorrow. Showtime set to kick off around 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. That's going to wrap it up for us here today. Here from the Jennings Family Farm, CJ Raceway, and the 2020 AMSOIL Buckwheat 100 GNCC. For all of us here at RacerTV.com and the GNCC Racing Nation, I'm Rodney Tomlin. Have a great day, everybody.